What's up, guys? Game Extra here, back in the video. Today's video is what if Commando Zoe was the main personality? Was Zoe's main personality? So this idea was by Galaxy-Life 9L4CR. So right off the bat, Commando Zoe is Zoe's personality, and she's still putting the maggots. And her introduction's a bit similar. Obviously, she's more combat trained and a lot stronger than regular Zoe. And I feel like she'd have a good friendship with Brick. She'd be okay with Cameron, but I think at this time she'd actually be close friends with Brick. And probably get on with Mike. Nothing romantic, but I think obviously Mike would still probably save her. If not, she'd be able to save herself. Stacey still gets voted off, and that would still play out the same. Jo would still want to be a leader, and she would obviously respect Zoe, so she'd want to keep her around. And Zoe is able to get through the obstacle course. I think Brick will have a friendly rivalry with Zoe, and they'll actually become friends. Scott still throws, and Dakota still gets eliminated. And this is Backstabbers Ahoy. Beast does his mirror strategy. Mike turns into Vito, and Maria likes him at this point. This doesn't bother Zoe because they're not even romantically interested in each other. At least on her side, maybe Mike, but he probably has gotten over it at this point. Scott sabotages B, and everyone votes B off again. Episode 4, this is basically where we have the scavenger hunt. So this is getting the keys lightning so it's captured. Now when Mike's originally bending over a key, Zoe originally gets captured here. But as Commando Zoe, I think she probably wouldn't get captured. I feel like she'd be able to fight off the webs. Mike would search for Zoe, but his shirt wouldn't get ripped off. So he wouldn't turn to Vito. So Zoe probably gets captured. Brick gets captured. Jo gets captured by herself and Dawn. And then Brick would still fall down. Jo would tell Brick to run back, go and win the challenge. The maggots lose. And Brick, I think Commando Zoe, though, would talk to Brick and convince him we gotta get rid of Jo. She's obviously a massive threat. Brick would still volunteer himself as tribute and sacrifice himself. Luckily, it's non-elimination, so Brick gets to stay for another day. Episode 5, this is Backstabbers Ahoy. So the water challenge, Brick goes in the suit, lightning pumps. Zoe does it, Jo pumps. Zoe pumps, Jo goes in. Emery and Mike are making out. They're probably a couple at this point, or actually getting on quite well. Cameron probably would be suspicious of this. Zoe's kind of annoyed that her friend Brick's on the other team. The shooters would be Jo and Zoe, the Brick and Scott. Scott would still be sabotaging his own team. He frames the stuff on Dawn, and they vote her off. Episode 6, Runaway Model. This Runaway Model, obviously they dress up the maggot. Zoe probably wouldn't do that well here. She's more commando. She'd put on, probably Jo look a bit better, but they get knocked down. Sam goes, Jo hits off the Yeti. They lose. Sam gets voted off, and Scott and Jo would still swap teams in this timeline. Scott is threatened by Zoe at this point because obviously he wants to get rid of her. Episode 7 is where we have a mind is a terrible thing. So, Maria still has captured the diamond. Brick still uses his boot. Lightning causes a cave-in. Scott's with the rest of his team. And then usually what happens here is Cameron, Mike, and Zoe get attacked by maggots, but then Brick goes back to save them. Now that Zoe's really strong and she's actually able to defend them, she'd be able to defend her team. So Brick would need to go back this time, meaning that the rats actually win this challenge. As Zoe would say, I can manage, go. So Zoe votes for Maria. Mike votes for Maria. Would vote for Zoe. Cameron, maybe they vote for Scott. These two go for Maria. But Scott talks to Maria. It's Cameron saying who would they take to the finale. So these three vote for Scott, but Zoe wants to keep Scott on an alliance. Cameron's not the biggest fan of Maria, so he probably. Zoe convinces Cameron that there's a couple, and who would they pick in the finale if they don't? Is Mike really going to choose you? Which Cameron panics. Because of that, they vote off Maria. Because Maria never quit, there's no double elimination. Episode 8. It's getting the squid, so obviously they rats failed like the original. Scott's found the idol, he's still throwing. So Lightning and Brick, they have to get the next is Scott still sabotaging his own team. So then what happens here is Cameron and Mike vote for Scott. Zoe votes for Cameron. They vote for Scott. He votes Cameron because his intelligence is a big threat in the merge. He gets rid of Cameron. Merge day is the merge cast. The only difference we have is we have Brooke instead of Cameron. Bye-bye rats. Bye maggots. Grand Shift Auto. So Mike's still pulling Scott like the original. Brick, I feel like Brick would win immunity with his military training, and Zoe gets there. It's close, but I think Brick wins. So Brick, who would he choose to eliminate? I think Joe gets eliminated here because Brick obviously his opinion's soured on her, and because he gets sole vote. He's friends with Zoe and Mike, that is why sole vote, meaning he doesn't want Zoe out. He wouldn't want Mike out. So Joe or Lightning or Scott. So I think Scott's fine. I don't think Brick will eliminate him. Joe and Brick have a rivalry. I think Brick chooses to eliminate Joe here, as she's obviously the biggest threat on the team. Brick gets a rocket chip and everyone else gets the same items. Zoe and Brick team up to take out Scott. Lightning's still there. Mike's... Oh, sorry, this is episode 10. Brick has sole vote and he gets rid of Joe. Brick gets the rocket and Mike gets the hot air balloon. Everybody else has the same items. Scott gets hit down. Lightning's fighting Heather. Brick... Zoe rectifies to the top. Saved by Mike. And I think the Lightning probably wins immunity, as Cameron's not there to fly through the window. So, Mike, Zoe, and Brick decide to vote for Scott. Zoe votes for Scott. Scott convinces Lightning to vote for Zoe. But he's unable to convince Mike and Brick. So in the end, they end up voting Scott off. Episode 12. Joe's out. So, Brick gets sole votes for Joe. Brick and Mike, obviously, they get the rocket and they get originally Lightning was beauty as Cameron's not there to steal it from him. And so everyone votes for Scott. There are two voting for Zoe. Everyone else votes for Scott. Episode 11. Eat February. Brick will be pretty good, so I expect that he probably wins the first part. Lightning races at the end, and he wins immunity. Lightning votes for Brick. Zoe's friends with Brick, so she votes for Mike. Mike votes for Brick. Brick votes for Mike. So in a Brick-Mike tiebreaker, I think Mike's losing that tie. Actually, Zoe votes for Brick, Mike votes for Brick. It's whoever Zoe would want to face between these three. And I think she's used to eliminate Brick here, as Brick's obviously a massive threat if she gets any further with him. So the three vote for Brick, and Brick votes for Mike in a surprising twist. Brick's eliminated. Episode 12. So Zoe and Mike decide to make a truce. Because if this keeps going on, they're not going to make it. They're going to lose. So, Lightning gets Map, they get Map. They team up to try to take out Lightning. And what usually happens here is Cameron gets trapped by the fire plant, then Zoe goes back to save him, which turns into her normal self. Mike gets attacked, but he gets rid of his fat Lana and Vito, so he's way stronger and more durable than Cameron is. But now that Zoe wouldn't do that, I think Zoe actually wins this challenge. And even though they're not dating, she's obviously taken Mike to the finale. He'd be an easier opponent to defeat over Lightning, so Lightning is out. So Lightning's eliminated. They each get winning endings. So this has been your opponent for 3 seconds. Rick would cheer Zoe on as she's the one who deserves to win as a cadet. She's the only person that took him out. I imagine Zoe would just be a cadet like Rick was. And in Mike's winning, obviously, he can transform into his other personalities. He tells Anne Maria, and she's happy, and they kind of make up. And they're more than likely dating now. And thank you guys for watching. This is the elimination. I think the season would have gone if Commando Zoe was the main personality in Revenge of the Island. Let me know in the comments, guys, if you want this as a part 2 for All Stars. I really enjoyed making this theory. I would like to do a second part, a consideration for All Stars. And yeah, peace, farewell.